Welcome to Be a Voice. I'm Brick Carpenter, and this is Usula Media. Thanks for joining me today. I'm excited about today's episode because I'm sitting here with somebody I don't get to spend much time with ever. I get to see her in passing because she has such a busy life, and she is doing some great things out there in the community. And it's something I've known for quite some time, and I'm looking forward today to finding out just a little bit more about her. I'm sitting here today with Melanie Beddis. Hi, Mel.
Hi, Britt. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And like I said, I don't get to spend time with you. I really don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to see you in passing. I get to see you at outreaches, at work, whatever, but I never get to have a heart or a chat about stuff.
Yeah,
so thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
So I know who you are, and I know, you are a person in recovery. That's how we've met. How many years you got now?
Like 4.5.
Almost 5 years.
Yeah.
My gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
When was the last time you thought that you could have had 4.5 years?
Never.
Never.
Mm-mm. I actually got out of jail 4 years ago today.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is like an anniversary for you, as a milestone.
Yeah.
Amazing. How long were you in jail for?
I was in jail for like 4 months, and then they sent me to a rehab for 28 days.
So you were incarcerated.
Yep.
Got out 4 years ago today.
Yep.
And then went to a rehab.
Yeah, I got out of jail in October, and then they sent me to the rehab for 28 days.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, think about that. 4 years ago, 4.5. How many years?
Yeah,
4.5.
Yeah.
4.5 years ago, and here you are sitting here now. And there's a lot to unpack that we can unpack in those 4.5 years of what went on. I mean, your life, just trying to reclaim or to find yourself for the first time ever is one of the hardest things you could ever do.
Yeah.
And I don't think some people understand that unless you're in that position. And just because you're in that position, everybody's different.
Right.
So I don't know what you went through and everything like that. But, what was your drug of choice?
So I started on opiates, and then, the cocaine, the crack, everything comes with it. There really wasn't much I would say no to.
It's so funny too, because unless I ask somebody who's an alcoholic,
right.
Alcoholics have that thing. Everybody else is like anything,
right.
So you're open to it. But opiates were a downfall for you. That's sort of
absolutely
what opened that door.
That was like my, people talk about drinking and that like aha moment. It was like when that opiate hit me, I was like, okay, everything's okay.
How old were you?
So I had tried like, a Percocet here or there in high school, but didn't really get that. And then it was like the first time I did an Oxy 80, I was 18, and I had a boyfriend who was addicted to them, and I couldn't get it. I'm like, why can't you just stop? Why is it so important? Like, I was the crazy girlfriend that would throw them out the window while we were driving, and like, I would have killed me for doing that.
I was like, I was just saying, can you imagine if somebody would have done that to you? Oh
right.
My gosh, they would have been out the door after him.
I wouldn't do that to somebody now. Like, I can't imagine. But yeah, and then I got fed up and I tried it, and I was like, okay, everything clicked. I was like, I get it now.
Isn't that interesting? I was totally into pills. For the longest time, and I never wanted to touch heroin. But like, that one person just got me to that point.
Yep.
And once they did, it was like, oh wow.
Yep.
And not to romanticize it, but that's really what it is. It's like it catches you right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were 18?
Yeah.
How old are you now, Mel?
34.
Okay. So for 12 years or almost 12 years of your life.
Yeah.
In an active addiction. I mean, did you party a little bit in high school prior to the 18?
I drank and stuff. My mom was like really, really strict. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I got away with what I could, but I still knew there was like limitations. Like, it wasn't an option for me to not graduate high school. It wasn't an option for me to not show up to school if I didn't feel like it. Like, I had that structure kind of my entire life, which, prime example, like, I do well in rehab. I do well in jail. Like, I need structure around me. And as soon as I don't have it and I'm forced to make my own decisions, it's like everything goes to shit immediately.
I can appreciate that so much, Where did you grow up?
Northeast Philly.
Okay, so you're from the Northeast.
Yep.
So you're from Philly. And then 18, this boyfriend sort of just got you hooked there, and then sky was the limit at that point.
Yeah, it all snowballed so quickly.
And did, at 18, were you living at home then?
I moved in with him quickly. I think I didn't go to rehab for the first time until I turned 21. It was my 21st birthday. I tried to like keep things under wraps from my family. And then, once they found out, obviously everybody was pretty involved.
How long was it before they found out?
It was a couple of years. Like they knew something was, something was up, but.
Do you, and I'm going to ask you, because my father used to say to me, what's wrong with you? You're sick? What you got something going on there? Because, you're losing weight. Do you think that the families like really know and they just don't want to admit it? Like knowing what we know now and where we're at? Or do you really think that they are blind to it?
I mean, now, like once I was in it and I was in and out of rehab, my mom knew every time. And like she might not say something just because she didn't want to push me away from her. Mm-hmm. But then because it wasn't like it is now, it wasn't like so common and so talked about. Like I don't think anybody thought, this little white girl from the suburbs basically is now addicted to heroin. Like
once again, that somebody that looks like you shouldn't be addicted.
Exactly.
Like that whole from the suburbs.
Yeah.
That all-American kid from the suburbs shouldn't be doing drugs.
Yeah.
And or they don't want to believe they're doing drugs. Maybe that they're depressed, they're losing weight.
Exactly.
But they don't. Yeah, that's interesting you said that. I don't have many people that say that or will admit to that. I say it all the time. People that look like me aren't supposed to be overdosing.
Right, and that's why I got away with so much. That's why it took me, 12 years to end up in jail, because it was just like, I could get away with stuff. I presented myself well enough to where it was like, I held a job most of the time. I could steal from stores and I wasn't your usual suspect. Like it really enabled me to go a lot further than I probably should have.
Isn't it funny how we can manipulate that system when we're, when we aren't that usual suspect?
Yes.
And people were like, you really did that? Well, yeah, of course, because they wouldn't expect us to do that.
Yeah. When I got arrested this time, I was in like such disbelief, because any other time a cop would like let me go, be like, call your parents, get out of here. And when they actually brought me into the holding cell, I was like, what is happening? Like, I'm not going to jail.
What did you get arrested for that time?
So funny story, but I was on a pretty vicious run. It was like one of my longer ones, and all the wheels are falling off, and I didn't have anywhere to live. I had a stray dog that I found in Kensington, and I didn't have a car, and I rented a U-Haul in someone else's name, and I was just like, you know what, this is it. This is going to be where I'm going to live. It has air conditioning. It was the middle of summer. Like, I'll be fine in here. And a friend of mine was letting me go to her. She worked for an apartment complex, and she was like, you can go shower in one of the empty apartment complexes. But it was in Delaware County. So I went there, I did that, and instead of leaving and getting right back on 95, I was like, I want to stop at the gas station for ice cream. And I was sitting in the U-Haul, had a couple random people in there, the dog, hitting my crack pipe at the gas station, and all of a sudden I'm like surrounded by cop cars. I'm like, what are they here for? And it was for me.
For you?
Yep.
Because of the U-Haul?
Yeah, well, so the U-Haul was still good at the time, but they were just like, why is somebody doing drugs in a U-Haul, like in Delaware County?
Oh, it's because somebody called in on you.
Yeah, somebody at the gas station called in on me. And what's funny is like they didn't find anything in the U-Haul. I had everything hidden. One of the guys left like a real small bag of meth in the back of it. And of course, I'm like, that's not even my drug of choice. Like, I would never do meth. Like, don't disrespect me. And they locked me up, and it turns out I had a warrant from like 2013 that I never handled. And I had to sit there for 4 months while they figured it out.
4 months because of a warrant that...
Yeah.
And this was when?
The original was in 2013.
And when did you get locked up?
In 2021.
Wow. Talk about a system.
Right.
Talk about a system that you don't know whether to trust or, want to scream at every day.
Yeah.
Because it fails us on many different ways. Mm-hmm. 4 months on a warrant. What was the warrant for?
Like a possession charge I had picked up at one point. Yeah. Like something so dumb. And after sitting there the entire time and, my mom going back and forth with Bucks County, Delaware County, they finally were like, we're just going to drop all the charges. We don't even want her. We're not going to come get her. And I was like.
So you sat incarcerated for 4 months. Mm-hmm. And then they just decided to drop the charges on you and boom.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's really funny how everything works out, because had that not happened, I think if I was in jail for 1 day less than I actually was, I would have went right back to the streets. Like, I used to sit in jail and go back and forth in my head and be like, oh, I should have just got on 95. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done this. But like now I look at it like, thank God, because that was such a wake up call for me. And like that was the first time that I could remember in years that I actually just had to sit by myself and be by myself. Like, nobody was coming to get me. Like, I didn't have a release date. There was nothing for me to look forward to. I couldn't plan anything. I just had to sit there and think, like, what am I going to do with the rest of my life?
And you detoxed then in jail?
Yes.
Did they have any type of triage for you?
No. So when I was in Delaware County Jail, it was still privately owned. So they did nothing. And it was like I legitimately thought I was going to die in there. It was like a full 30 days of just, throwing up on myself, not being able to eat, not being able to drink water. Like I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything.
Basically, that's almost like putting something to precipitate withdrawal.
Yeah.
And
it was terrible.
Signing a death warrant.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like that's the way I would have felt to be dead if I was going through. So you experienced a 30-day withdrawal on your own while incarcerated, locked in a cell.
Yep.
It wasn't even like you were in an open area you could go out, or there's air you could get to, or anything like that.
No, and at the time, because the jail was still privately owned, there was like, COs would just call out and there wouldn't be enough to like let us out of our cells. We would stay locked in our own cells for days at a time. They would let us out like once a week to shower. There was no going outside. There was no like rec time. It was just isolation and a cell.
How did you do it? How'd you get through those days?
Probably the phone calls to my mom every other day of me just asking her, like, because, I don't have any information to give. I'm just like, what'd you eat for dinner? Like, I would hear her smoking a cigarette and be like, oh, you're killing me. Like, just really like the hope of, okay, like, what's next? Like, I need something to look forward to keep me sane in here.
Wow. I just trying to wrap my head around that. That's pretty intense. I mean, I was only in for 48 hours one point, and thank gosh they missed a bag in my sock that I was able to like take because I was withdrawn. I'm like, oh, look at that bag in my sock, and I was able to quick do it, but I just can't, and so that's a lot of strength. Speaks volumes to your character.
I mean, it was, I didn't have a choice, right? So like, there's the argument of locking people up and like, will that get them sober? And I'm so 50-50 with it because, yes, obviously it doesn't work every time, right? We see people get arrested every day and get released back onto the streets. Mm-hmm. But for me, and for so many people that I'm close with, I was not stopping. I was not going to rehab on my own. I didn't care what the consequences were. Like, I needed to be in that environment where, like, I had no choice and I could not leave. So, like, I do think it could be beneficial. I just don't know what the perfect outline for that is.
And that I agree with you. I really think that, when you get to sit with yourself, by yourself for that long with no other choice, you learn a lot about yourself.
Yeah.
So if people have that ability to do so, and that's, but what is that fine line and how are they going to do it? And
exactly.
they don't do it right.
No.
If they did it right,
yeah,
but they don't do it right.
And going to rehab after definitely played a huge part too. Because
whose decision was that?
The Delaware counties. My stipulation was I had to go to treatment. And it was funny because I called my mom one day and she's like, okay, Buck's dropped the charges. You're getting released. I'm coming to get you at 6:00. And I'm like, yes, I'm giving all my stuff away. 6:00 comes. She's not there. I'm like, what's going on? I finally get to a phone again. I call her and she's like, they decided they're sending you to rehab for 28 days. And even though part of me thought, like, I want to be sober, I want to do this, I was so pissed off because I was like, I just want freedom. I want to go do what I want.
I was just locked up. I don't get locked up some more.
And I'm like, I've been to rehab 16 times already. Like, what is another one?
Is that how many times you went? 16?
Yeah, 17 in total. The
17 in total.
17.
So this 2021 was your last. That was your 17th. Yeah. 17 times in rehab in 12 years. Mm-hmm. Sort of crazy.
It really is. And I wasn't like an AMA-er either. Like, if I went, I was down bad and like, I'm just going to hang out for this time and I'll leave when I'm supposed to. But yeah, they sent me to that rehab, and that first night there, my mom, like, literally, I don't know how people get sober without their parents. I really don't, because not a thing while I'm getting high, but as soon as I'm like, all right, I'm ready to try and do this again, she's like my biggest cheerleader. And they sent me to rehab in Pottsville. It was like 3 hours away. She drove up there before me to drop me off cigarettes, clothes, and they put me in like a little isolation room because COVID was still a thing. And they gave me my clothes and they let me take like a real shower. And I just remember looking at myself in the like a real mirror for the first time in months and just like crying. Like the girl brought me apple juice and I was like just so filled with gratitude. And I was like, this is what I can't forget. Like how excited I am right now just to put on my own sweatpants and like sleep in a real bed. Like I was over the moon.
And you spent all 28 days. You didn't think about leaving. And once you left, what was your plan?
So again, right? Like I know everything. I'm like, yeah, I'll do what you tell me, but I still have to have my hand in it. So they're like, we think you should go to a recovery house. And I'm like, that's probably a good idea. But I had been to a couple before and I never had a good experience. And again, because I'm so manipulative, like I'm going to be best friends with the owner. They're going to, let me be the house manager. I'm going to do whatever I want. I know how to fake a drug test, like never with good intentions. So I was like, let me go to South Philly, separate myself from the Northeast. Anybody I had known from like 12-step fellowships kind of had no faith in me at this point. Like I was the notorious girl that was in and out and I had no faith in myself and I just wanted a fresh start. Not like a fresh enough start where I'm leaving the state or the city.
Right.
But I figure a different part will be, good enough.
Yeah.
It was.
That's actually, when you think about it, that's a really big difference between Northeast and South Philly.
Yes.
It's two separate countries almost.
Right. And if you say that to somebody that's not from here, they don't understand. But to me, I was like, I don't know where anything is. Like,
I always say to people like, where do you live Northeast? I'm like, I don't have my passport. I can't get there. Sorry. It's like, it's a different world.
Yeah.
So you ended up in South Philly.
Yeah.
And since then it's been
chaos. The only difference for me, like I really dove into the 12-step fellowship this time. And I think a lot of it was I wanted to prove people wrong. I was so sick of being the girl that was in and out. I wanted to be like, no, you know what? I can be your little group secretary and I can do this and I can sponsor people, like all those things that I never thought I could do. Mm-hmm. And I did all those things and I was like, I'm out. I'm over it. I kind of removed myself and I was so scared for so long to be like, oh, I'm not going to go to a meeting and I'm going to die. And my life has gotten better. I've never interacted with people who didn't rely on 12-step meetings. So like that was a huge part too, to like go to different jobs and just have different friends who like, they're like, no, I'm just going out for dinner and then I'm going to go home. And like, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, this is an option. Mm-hmm, like, yeah. I don't have to be tied down to this.
There's
one
life
thing.
outside the rooms.
Yes.
And I talk about it often because I went to the rooms at first because I needed to be saved.
Yeah.
And that was the way to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody said, you go to the rooms and that's what happens. And I went and I just never really found my place there. And I, like you, am a huge manipulator. Yeah. Like if I went somewhere, I was smiling because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me. Yeah. I'll be friends with the owner so I could do this and live for free. And it's, but in AA, I really, I did the steps as painful as they are and were. And so I think everybody should do the steps, whether they're sober or not. But,
no, for sure.
But I just couldn't relate. There wasn't a correlation between me and a lot of the people there, even though I have a lot of my friends are, still doing it and they're still 12-steppers. That's just not who I am. And I get that, and my life did get better. And I also found that there was a lot more out there and there was other ways of recovery. And I also think that was one of the biggest things because there was such a pigeonhole there that this is the only way.
Yeah.
When this is 2025, almost 2026, and we need to have all different ways. So you left the rooms.
I did. And like for me too, like I fully believe I needed to be there. Right. But for me, the main piece was like that connection. Like I just wanted to fit in somewhere so bad. I didn't care what it was, where it was, that's like how I ended up doing outreach and stuff. Like I just wanted to fit in with somebody. And I did in AA for a while and I met a lot of great people and I feel like I did a lot of work on myself. But then it's like, I felt like, okay, what's next? You know, like you go to rehab, you go to the recovery house, you go to AA, like there's got to be a next step. Like I just felt kind of stagnant. And then I'm like, oh, I'm turning into like the grumpy old timer, almost like sitting in the back, like, oh, this person's going to share the same thing. And this
Oh, great. Let's hear this story again.
Yeah. And I'm just like, am I doing more good or more damage by being in here if I don't want to be in here?
And the funny thing is, are you doing more good or damage to yourself?
Right.
And that's really what it boils down to. And you recognize that.
Yeah.
And you left and things flourished for you?
Yeah, they really did.
Things flourished. You never expected that, did you?
No.
No.
I really was scared. And like, I have a couple friends who did the 12-step thing for a long time and then like got to a point where they didn't. And I remember asking one of my friends like a year in, and she was like, why don't you give it a little bit longer? Right. Which was probably a good suggestion because I like to jump ship early. But yeah, it's just like, you know, like the gossipy, like nonsense and just.
And those are just the old men.
Yeah. Just the judgment. Like I remember I had a year sober when I was like 22 years old. And because I was 22 years old, I wanted to drink again. And I drank and I was like, okay, I guess I got to go back to AA now. And I felt so judged. And I felt like I lost all my friends and I didn't have anybody. And I already lost my clean date. So what's the point? I might as well use drugs. Mm-hmm. And like, that didn't have to be that way. Like, I really think it's important to celebrate everybody, no matter if they're like, you know, I've been 30 days off this, or my goal is to just make it till tomorrow. Like, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be such a like serious countdown and you have to do all these things or you're going to die. Like, it's kind of intimidating, especially for somebody just walking in.
Absolutely. But it's interesting because you, like me, returned to the streets. Once we got into our recovery and sober and clean, we decided to go back to the streets.
Yeah.
And it was for a whole different purpose. And that's something that like I did almost very early on in my recovery,
Same.
Almost within like a couple months.
Yeah.
And people were like, whoa, are you? And I think in a way when I did that to start doing the outreach, it was almost kept me in check. Like, I don't want to be that.
Absolutely.
Because I just hit 10 years. So like when I was in that, like heroin wasn't even in there. It was all fent.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, as I started looking at things, I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to be
Exactly.
like that. So you went back to the streets within a relatively short period of time.
Pretty much
to
as
do
soon
your
as
outreach.
I got to the recovery house. If I'm being completely honest, it was because I had a crush on Sherm and he was doing outreach and I wanted to do it. Right. Again,
Really?
I just like wanted to fit in. Yeah, of course.
Oh my gosh, you had a crush on it. So you were the first to make that move?
Oh yeah. I got to the recovery house. They told me the one big rule is you're not allowed to fraternize with any of the men. And Sherm had just become the men's property manager and there was one other male resident. And I was like, dibs.
Sherm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Sherm was on the podcast at one point, and James Sherman for the episode. You want to check that out. Sherm was on, and so you had a big crush on him.
Yeah.
Did that crush pay off?
I mean, I'm engaged now. I have a nice apartment. I just got a new car. So it's working out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And you know what? You did learn a lot, didn't you, through the outreaches and being, first of all, you at 18, your life went into chaos right away.
Yep.
So you really never had a chance to experience those evolving years or those evolutionary where you grow into a career or what you want to do and stuff. But you really kicked some ass in your recovery home there. In that organization that you're working with. I mean, it was savage. We can say it. It's not, I'm not bound to not saying anything, but, and it's okay. People aren't going to hold that against you. They don't. They love you even more because, you're free. I said that, not her.
No, I also said it. No, I mean, it definitely served its purpose. And like, I fell in love with doing outreach and even running the recovery houses because again, like I could relate to people. I've been in so many recovery houses. I know you hate it here. I know you don't want to make your bed. Like same. I broke every rule that you could possibly think of. I received every punishment you could possibly think of. So that did keep me going. And like you said, the drug supply just wasn't the same. Mm-hmm. Like I had pretty bad wounds on my arms. But they healed up right away. And then I would come down here and I'm like, I do not miss this. Like, and that's probably one of the things that's kept me in recovery this long is just the fact that like, it's not the same. The drugs aren't the same. I don't want to go back.
Agreed.
If there was real heroin, I might not be sitting here today. Like I honestly.
Agreed.
But,
Totally agreed.
Yeah.
Because I overdosed 5 times and I don't think one of those times was on heroin.
Right.
So I always use that in my head. Like, was that really the issue? Was it the heroin or was it the supply?
Yeah.
But so you did a lot of great work there. You really did. Then you left.
Yes.
And you did what?
So,
I mean, because first of all, to leave a comfort zone in recovery, especially in your first few years,
yeah.
can be detrimental to you.
No, for sure. And even my mom was on that page for, like, there was a couple months where I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And she's like, that place saved your life. Like, you can't. And I'm like, all right, I get it. I get that you're scared. I get that you've been through a lot. But, like, I'm telling you right now, my mental health can only take so much more.
Or I'm going to start using it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one day I just had enough and I quit and I had no plan. And I got a job waitressing at Chili's. And I was like, I'm just going to do outreach on my own. And
you did start that for a brief time.
Yeah.
That's right.
I went down and I was doing outreach on my own, and Sherm was with me, and Margot's side gate was open. And he was like, I just want to go in and say hi to her really quick.
Did you know Margot then?
I didn't.
You
I had
didn't?
heard of her, but I'd never met her.
And Margot was on the show too. Margot Murphy, Sunday Love Project. You should check that one out too. She's a piece of work.
She is.
And I'm not saying that in a negative, because you can say it in a
Yeah.
negative. But with her, she just, so you met her for the first time through Sherm.
Yeah, and she gave me some snacks to hand out, and she texted me and was like, I'm not trying to be too forward, but, like, if you need a job, I can offer you something part-time. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, I was just willing to do anything at that point. And the last year was rough. I worked my ass off. I had 3 jobs at one point, like, running around just trying to get my life together. And, recently I got promoted, and now I'm the director of operations there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And you think about it, here you were just almost 5 years ago, a total wreck, probably, on your way to the grave.
Yeah.
And now you're running the show there.
Yeah.
And, Margot has, Sunday Love Project, which runs Greater Goods, which Greater Goods is what?
It is a food pantry that is modeled after, like, a grocery store, but it is free.
And it's right there, basically at K&A.
Yeah.
It's just a few feet in from
Yep. So
K&A.
I'm still in the thick of it.
You're right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
You're there every day. But this one really pertains to the community.
Yes.
It's giving to the community, and it's free for the community.
Yep.
It's not like they come in there with any money. They get their play money. They get to spend X amount of dollars. They have to have ID, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. They need an ID to register. They can shop once every 2 weeks, and they get 20 points every time they come in.
What you've done is really admirable. Like, you were with an organization that had some cred there, and it still does. It's got cred with people, just not me. Don't edit that out either. But they do good things. If they're doing good things, they're doing good things.
2 of my best friends still work there, and I love them dearly.
And they are doing good things, on their level, and that's fine. But you were there, and that was a comfort zone, and you did really well there, and you excelled there. You were running recovery homes. You were overseeing things. You were running the outreaches. You were running the show. Every time that, the organization would show up somewhere, you were the face of it.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And then you sort of left. You packed that all in and gave that all up with such uncertainty.
Yes.
And you worked your ass off like you started all over again.
I really did. And it was definitely scary, especially because the main thing I was scared about was, like, that good paycheck every week,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, we're going back to basics here, and I'll figure it out.
How was it going back to work, especially at Chili's?
A nightmare. An absolute nightmare. I hated it so much. The day I finally got to quit, I was never more excited. I was like, I'm too old for this now.
But you stuck it out.
I did.
That speaks volumes right there.
Yeah.
It's a huge side of character. You were really looking to make a difference, make a change.
Yeah.
So fast forward then. There you were working part-time with Margot. You moved in with Sherm.
Yep.
You took that leap of faith and moved in.
Yes.
Because, you fraternized, so you broke the rules. What happened? Any punishment with that?
Oh, so much punishment. I was demoted as a house manager. Just constant back and forth. And we broke up for a little bit, and we had moved in together previously. Definitely too soon. Everything was definitely very rushed. And I took that time. Again, it's like, it's getting sober is like going to college for the first time, really. Like, and there were so many things I didn't get to do. And, you know, when me and Sherm broke up, I moved in with my best friend, Liddy, and got to really have that experience of like living with a girl and just doing whatever we wanted. And it was so much fun. Like the day I moved out to move back in with Sherm, like I was just crying my eyes out, like packing my stuff, hysterically crying. Like, I don't want to go. I want to live with my best friend forever. But it was so much fun, and I needed that. And I needed to know, you know, Sherm more, like how we live together. Like right now we have separate bedrooms for all our stuff because like that is one thing we can't agree on.
It should be.
Yeah.
The way it really should be.
You know, it works so much better. I can decorate how I want. He can do what he wants. But yeah, we both just needed to like grow up and just learn so much more. And like, yeah, I never had bills in my name. I never had a credit card, like all this stuff that just gets thrown at you that you have to learn how to do all at once.
And I'm glad you said that because a lot of people don't realize that, you know, people are always like, I had a gentleman the other day say to me, well, why do you have them write things down in a book at the thrift store? I said, when was the last time you think they wrote something down when they were in active addiction? When was the last time you think that they picked up a pen or pencil and they wrote in cursive or printed or something out? He went, oh, I'm like, we don't have those skills sometimes.
Right.
Those skill sets don't exist. So we're learning things for the first time in our recovery.
Really, like it just how to do everything. Like, you know, how often I need to do my laundry, like stuff I'm still not great at and struggle with. But it really is just like you get thrown into being an adult all at once and it's like, figure it out.
And this is your first new car?
My first new car, yeah.
First new car.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Great.
That's all. I've never had a brand new car ever.
It's a 2024.
But that's new enough.
New enough. Driving down the highway knowing that there's no lights on and nothing's going to like fly off my car is the greatest freedom I've ever felt.
Just praying you're going to get from K&A to South Philly in no time. I know that feeling.
Yeah, because my last car, it was good. It got me all over the country, different conferences, like all over the place. But the last month or two, I was carrying around a battery jumper.
Wait, all over the country. Did you do a cross-country drive?
The furthest I drove was Florida and West Virginia in that car.
Maybe I was the East Coast. Maybe it was the East Coast
Yeah.
that I saw. I follow so many people in document. I'm like, wait a second. So what do you, if you're not going to meetings and you're working all the time, what are you doing to keep yourself on a straight and narrow?
Whatever I want. It's like the best
I love
thing
it.
ever.
I
Like,
love that.
I go to Phillies games. Like, that was always my thing, too. I would go to rehab, and they, want to ask you a million questions when you get there. And they're like, what are your hobbies and interests? I'm like, I don't have any. I don't know what my favorite color is. I don't know anything about myself. Like,
Drugs and boosting.
yes, I get money to get high, and then I get high, and then I start over again. And, like, that's what's been so cool, just, like, learning what I like to do. Like, I like to go to Phillies games. I like to go out to eat. Like, I just like to sit on my couch and scroll on my phone. It's just been so great.
Experiencing all these things that you never thought you could.
Yeah.
Or would. I mean, for the first time.
Even going on vacations and
Which you just were on.
Yes.
Tell me about your vacation.
So we went on a cruise and for my birthday, and the second day we were there, I got proposed to.
Let's see that. Nice.
Yes.
He did good.
He did very
He
good.
did very good.
Yeah.
Did you know this was going to happen?
I have been harassing him probably for like the last year, so I was hoping that something was going to happen, but...
Was he nervous?
Oh, he cried like a little baby. And it's funny because the day of, I was being such a bitch. Like, I couldn't get my hair the right way. Like, I was just overstimulated. I was pissed off. And I know the whole time he was probably like, do I even want to do this?
And you're on vacation, on
Yeah.
a cruise, who cares?
Yeah.
You were just in that mode, huh?
Yeah.
Did he have anybody there taking pictures or anything?
Yeah, so his whole thing the whole time was, we don't have any pictures, like nice pictures of us, so we're going to get pictures taken when we get there. And so he went down and talked to the photographer, and he like followed us out into the island and took all these pictures, and he made me like turn around and like whip my hair back. And when I did, Sherm was on one knee hysterically crying.
Was he shaking?
Yeah.
Was he bright red?
Of course.
Sweating?
He's always bright red.
I know. I after I said that, I'm like, he's always red.
Yeah.
Did you cry right away?
I did. I was more like excited that he was crying because, I like when he shows some emotion. But But then it was great because then the rest of our vacation, it was just like, wow, I really have everything I could possibly want.
Well, this is really a cool story, though. Like, here you are, you finally are getting an opportunity to become somebody for the first time ever in your life.
Yeah.
You end up in this recovery home. They tell you no fraternizing, and I love that aspect of it. First thing you do is you set your sights on the house manager. Immediately. And here you are now, how many years later, engaged to be married.
Yep.
Living together. 2 dogs now.
Yes.
What was the second dog all about? You just got the one. I was like, oh, but the second one.
So we got the one, and he's a little morky, and he has severe separation anxiety, which is probably my fault because I don't let him touch the ground. It's just wherever I'm going, you're going. And then my friend Brittany, who actually, when I got arrested and I had a dog with me, she came and picked that dog up and spent the next 4 years with it until it passed away. So she found a dog on the street, and she was like, I guess I owe you a dog, huh? So
the dog that you got arrested with, is this the dog with the broken leg?
No.
Oh.
No. Okay. A lot of dogs, a lot of history.
All right, I'm not going to go down there, but all of a sudden I just went, whoosh.
No, she was just a dog I found in Kensington, and they locked me and her up. I was in a holding cell with this dog. And
they took the dog. They let you take the dog, though?
I was, just in the holding cell with the dog. And, I'm, of course, in my brain, I'm like, they're not going to take me to jail if I have a dog with me. And they were like, you have to call somebody or, she's going to the pound. And my friend Brittany came and got her and kept her and gave her, the most amazing life ever. And so she found a dog on the streets, and she posted on Facebook. And I was like, if nobody wants it, I will take that. And she was like, yeah, I owe you a dog. And we went and picked her up. So now we have 2 dogs and 2 cats and a 2-bedroom apartment. And there's just a lot.
Separate bedrooms. You're like an old married couple already.
No, really.
This is perfect. You don't even have to worry about walking down the aisle. You're golden.
I know. I know. And he's such a grumpy old man and on such a routine too of bedtime, when to wake up, everything. So yeah.
He has become an old man real quick, hasn't he? So
quick.
Oh my gosh. He used to be this smiling, jovial guy. I'm telling you, Penn sucked it out of
him. Yeah. A lot of things. Yeah.
So if you had a chance to go back to the 17-year-old Melanie, what would you tell her? What would you say to her?
I don't know, because initially I want to be just stay in school, don't talk to a boy ever. Just focus on yourself and figure stuff out. But at the same time, I just wanted to be you'll figure it out. I really wouldn't change anything because I really think it's made me who I am. And there's so much conflict and about harm reduction as a whole. And I agree with some of it, right? 2 things can be true at the same time. I think that it can be enabling. I think that it can be helping people. I think the biggest focus of it for me personally is the connection aspect. Because I've said it 1,000 times, I don't know how people get sober without their families behind them. And I know so many people down here that don't. And if I could be that for somebody, just hey, I believe in you. If you want to go to rehab, call me. I'll bring you whatever you need. We'll try this 50 times. Don't give up on yourself. Sometimes that is all people need. Absolutely.
And as you're saying all that, it's just everything I feel. Exactly feel the same way. You said it several times as we sat here talking today. You talked about connections. And I think that's what some people don't realize is that when you are in your active addiction and you are lost out there, it's because there are no connections, no true connections.
Right.
Unless you have something like Brittany, which is amazing to keep that connection.
Yeah.
That's very awesome to have something like that still. But connections, have you ever seen the Johan Hari TED Talk?
No.
You need to watch it then. Johan Hari did a TED Talk called Everything You Know About Addiction is Wrong, or the opposite of addiction is not recovery. And he talks about connections.
Yeah.
And it's really important. It's something I think you would really like. And I'd love to hear you say that. And are those something you didn't have before you got your active addiction?
I think I always had connections. My family's super close. I always had friends growing up. I think I didn't have that connection with myself. I just wanted to be liked so badly. I was so afraid to speak my mind or say what I liked or say what I didn't like. I just wanted to kind of blend into the background and just be a part of something.
Self-esteem.
Yeah.
Self-worth wasn't there.
Never.
I get that too.
Yeah.
I understand that. How do you like yourself now?
I'm working on it. I'm still not, there all the way, but I definitely, I'm content, at least, emotionally. I know I'm a good person. I don't care what other people have to say about me in that aspect. I know that the people I have in my life are there for all the right reasons and are, some of the best people in the world. I don't have to do the whole fake, nice, associate thing anymore. If you post something I don't like on Facebook, you're deleted. Bye. Forget you ever existed. I don't care. I used to think everybody has to like me and I have to be nice to everybody and friends with everybody. I don't.
No way.
I don't have to be mean, but I don't have to acknowledge people that I just genuinely don't care about.
I felt that same way. And when I got into recovery, I was like, you know what? In the end, all I'm going to have is myself anyway. So I don't need to really bow down or kowtow or be worried about. It's nice to own it, isn't it?
It really is.
It's nice to own yourself. It's nice to be able to take that and really work it, because people don't get that opportunity when they're in active addiction. When you're using and you're out there and you're nodding out or you're passed out or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But once you have that opportunity to really own it, you either have to or you might as well just give it up.
Yeah, because for so long, I was just especially when I got into recovery this time, I was like, all right, I have to do everything different. All these people that I think I hate for whatever reason, I'm going to be friends with them. I'm going to give them a chance. And then I would give them a chance and I'd be like, oh, that is why I hated them. They do suck. And I don't have to let you into my life.
But that's really cool that you were willing to give them a chance, thinking that maybe...
Yeah.
But then you realize, no, it really was them.
Yeah. 9 out of 10 times I am the problem. I will admit that. But yeah, some people just, everybody's not for everybody.
You're close with your mom, it seems.
I am.
You're tight with her.
I really, really am.
Yeah. Did this strengthen even more so? When you got into recovery or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think now I'm somebody that she can actually depend on. She moved to Florida a year ago, which I was devastated about, right? And I don't want to be an orphan. I can't believe you're doing this to me. But
so far away.
Me being selfish, this was the first time she felt comfortable enough to leave the state and go start her life over somewhere and not worrying about getting a phone call that I'm dead, I'm in the hospital, I'm in jail, whatever it is. She has that freedom to go. And my brother just became a police officer in Philadelphia.
That's right. I saw that post. Congratulations to him.
Complete opposites. But... so now I still have him here, and it's she can call me and be like, can you check on your brother? Or if he has an issue, he knows he can come stay at my house, whatever it is. So it's I actually get to be somebody my family can depend on.
That's awesome. It's a good feeling.
It really is.
It's a real good feeling. And plus, you realize that you gave your mom a gift.
Yeah.
You gave her the gift of freedom.
Yes.
And you probably never realized that she felt tied down all those years.
Right.
Because our selfishness when we're in our addiction.
Yeah, of course.
It's all about us.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. You've come a long way, Mel. And I didn't know any of this stuff because we never had this. And this is really just spinning my head here. I really didn't know you spent time in jail like that.
Yeah.
Reentry from that is even 4 months, 4 days is difficult for people.
Yeah.
So you give back though? You still give back?
I do. And I love working for Margot at Sunday Love because she's one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. It amazes me. There's no ego involved. And I just obviously not what I'm used to. So it's just so refreshing to work there. And then to work with the whole food insecurity thing, nobody hates giving people food, right? I don't have to defend our nonprofit because it's yes, everybody does deserve to eat. And it's just so great to have the community behind you. And then also too, I destroyed Kensington for so long. It's nice to be able to do something for the residents that live there. Instead of just worrying about my people and the people that use drugs, I can worry about everybody that lives there.
I understand that totally. That's why I took Philly Unknown in a different direction after a while. I was like, you know what? I destroyed these streets.
Yep.
I ran these, amok. I was the person getting chased away from houses. So I have that whole theory that I'm going off of, or the whole slogan I'm going off of now, there's life beyond the sidewalks.
Yeah.
And people don't know that. And that's, with the garden and stuff we're doing. I mean, it's great what they're doing on the streets. Every organization out there handing out, whatever they're doing is handing out. It's great. It's helping. But when you're able to sit back and do for the community on a different level, it
Yeah.
really opens your eyes a lot differently, because now you're seeing the effect
Yes.
of what one causes. Mm-hmm. And, it's sad.
It really is. And I used to, be one of those people, that mentality, like, if you don't like it, just like move. You know what I mean? Like, why would you want to live in Kensington? But it's like, some of these people have no choice, have lived there their whole lives. Like, it's not their fault that, we decided to take it over and be like, this is a perfect spot to set up shop.
I have that conversation with people all the time. They're always like, well, if they don't like it, they should just move. Where do you want them to go?
Right.
For some of them, that's as good as it's going to get. That's all they have. It's all they know. Mm-hmm. Well, they should get jobs. Well, how do you know they're not working? How do you know that in this economy,
right,
they're only working for $10, $12 an hour? And that's what, and it's sad. It's sad. People don't recognize that and don't realize that. But now that you are hands-on in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods, not just in Pennsylvania,
right,
but in the country, how has that changed you as a person?
So, I mean, if anything, I think it's made me a little harder on the unhoused community. Just because from doing outreach for so long, it's just like, people have come accustomed to like, okay, what do you have to give me? Right. And it's like, why don't you do something for somebody else? Like, if you want to sit here all day, like, why don't you make sure you pick up your trash and get it off the sidewalk before little kids come in here? And then the community, like, they're just so, don't get me wrong, there's customers that want to take advantage, and like, there's always going to be a couple bad ones in there, but like, they're just so grateful. And like, we just opened on Saturdays for the month of November, just because everything that's going on with SNAP benefits, and like, people that are coming in like, oh, I work during the week, I've never been able to come here, like, this is amazing what you guys are doing, like, just to feel appreciated, that's why we all help people. It feels good.
Yep.
Nobody's just doing it because like it feels good to actually help someone.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that was my recovery. That was how I focused on it, by going out there and doing the things on the streets and everything. And but it was when I had that epiphany of the day I was handing a compassion bag to somebody in the street, and there was a grandfather standing in a doorway with his 2 grandchildren that were just staring at me, that I looked in my back and I had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I walked over and he was like, no, I'm like, please.
Yeah.
And when I saw the kids' faces light up, I thought, I need to make a change.
Yeah.
I need to do something. I had already been 5 years on the streets doing the outreach, and I love doing it, and I love those connections. But then at that point in time, there was now also 20 more organizations out there.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, how good am I doing if they're all doing the same thing?
Right.
And who am I really helping, and who am I hurting? And I looked at it, I'm hurting the community, because they're not getting anything out of this.
And that's my other like negative side to harm reduction too, is I feel like everyone's trying to reinvent the wheel, right? Essentially, everybody's doing the same thing. Like, why doesn't everybody just come together and be like, you know what, I'll take Mondays, you take Tuesdays, you take Wednesdays. But like, it's so hostile. Like I was saying to Sherm the other day, I'm like, I wonder if animal shelters fight like this. You know what I mean? Like they don't.
They work together.
Yes. Like I think people lose sight of like what the actual mission is. And I think because
it's ego.
And harm reduction is such a gray area too, that I don't think anybody knows what the mission is. You know what I mean?
And it's evolved.
Yeah.
Harm reduction has evolved. I mean, if you would have mentioned harm reduction 4 years ago, 5 years ago, handing somebody paraphernalia would never have been thought of.
Right.
In a harm reduction. That was only ever since, the pandemic hit and a lot of airborne, infectious diseases hit. That has happened. But also people tend to forget that what you're doing at Greater Goods, for Sunny Love Project, that's harm reduction.
Yeah.
That's harm reduction for the community.
Exactly.
Because they're hurting just as badly. I had that same problem. I'm like, why can't we get on the same page? We tried at one time. We tried. We all really tried. And it just didn't go. And it's a shame because I didn't want to be out there on a Wednesday night because so-and-so was out there. But then I didn't want to be out on a Thursday night because so-and-so was out there.
Yeah.
So here we are now. We're flooding the streets and it's not making sense.
It's not. And like the other thing too is, again, because like nobody agrees. Like, so what is the mission to get these people into treatment? But then it's like, oh no, we just love everybody for whatever they're doing. I'm like, that's great. But where I had the moral dilemma as a person in recovery, I can't look at you living on the streets, knowing you're using drugs, and lie to you and tell you that this is okay, and when I know there's a better way of life. Like, I know it's, frowned upon to push rehab or anything on people, but like just that connection of like, I used to be there, especially when it's somebody that knows me from out there and they're like, oh my God, you don't even look the same. Like, I can't believe you got sober. Like, that is impactful for me.
How long were you out in the streets?
I was never like, a full blown park dweller.
No, you were like me. You were like, it was easier to use because it was right there.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. So I would do my stints of, house hopping under Emerald Street for a little bit, wherever.
That's on the streets.
Yeah, the wind would take me, but it was on and off the whole time because there would always be like a recovery house for a month, this person's house for a month, back outside. Like,
it was always nice to get clean in the wintertime.
Yeah,
because it was warm.
Yeah, of course.
But I love the fact that you have really embraced the attitude of meeting the community where they're at now.
Yeah,
because that's such an important thing. My whole thing is if we keep meeting people where they're at and leaving them there, we're not doing a service.
Right.
We need to start bringing people with us.
Yeah.
And if we don't do that, then we need to start changing what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Right.
And you really now have encompassed all that. I'm loving all this. This is so awesome. This is so amazing. I mean, Greater Goods, you're doing great things there. You have, almost 5 years, which at one point thinking 5 hours was a long time for yourself.
Yeah, no way. No way.
It's crazy. It's crazy. You gave your mother a gift that she could go and enjoy her life.
Yes.
And you could go and enjoy your life down there with her when you want.
Yeah.
Is it a good part of Florida?
No, it's not. She also scammed me on that because the whole time I thought she was going to like Fort Lauderdale or something. And she
was
moved.
in Jacksonville.
Yeah, she's like 2 hours outside of Jacksonville. So you can't even fly directly there. You got to fly to Jacksonville and then drive 2 hours to the middle of nowhere. You can't DoorDash there. There's nothing comes up as an option.
Really?
Yeah, she's in the middle of nowhere.
Does she like it?
She loves it.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. When I used to live in Florida, that middle of nowhere was, you had to go across the state and there was like a big prison right in the middle of it. So weird. And I was just always remember, don't break down. Yeah. It was so bad. But, just to hear your story, to see where you were, to hear everything you've been through. That boyfriend back at 18, gone, never heard from again.
Who knows?
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. And, some people, of course, hear things and know where they're at. And
Yeah.
So you really have moved on.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. So you talk about making those connections. And, I always say that there's never enough time in 1 hour to unpack things. If there's somebody out there that's still struggling, because there's so many of them, what would you tell them?
You can always go back to it, right? But you don't know how many more opportunities you're going to have to try. And I made a deal with myself. If my life doesn't get better in 90 days, I can go right back to Kensington. And my life got better.
That's a heck of a deal. That's a really heck of a deal. Do you think if your life didn't get better, you would have done that?
Probably because I had so many times before, but I had never given myself the full chance to let it get better.
Do you think being in jail with those 4 months really changed a lot of you?
I really do. There were so many girls I would see get released and come back in a month later, and it would make me sick to my stomach. Like, you had the opportunity to get out of here. How could you let yourself come back in here? And I was like, that is not going to be me. I cannot go through this again.
I love all this. I love hearing all this. It's just, you truly are a success story. You know this.
I'm a work in progress.
We're all a work in progress, Mel. We're all works in progress, But you're a success story. Regardless of what happens from the time you're a success story from what
Thank
don't
you.
sell yourself short, and I know that you're a role model to a lot of people because I know that there are people out there that look up to you. I have some people in my workforce program that look up to you, love you. Every time I said your name, they're like, oh, and we know who you're talking. I'm talking about, but you do some really good things. So you make those connections and you do that for people. And I don't know. I'm just so happy that you and Sherm have found that peace at this point in time, which is a really good thing. You deserve it.
Thank you.
You really do. And maybe I'll have the two of you come back one day together.
A lot of arguing.
It'll be like couples counseling.
Yeah.
It'll be like therapy. I'll love it.
Yep.
I'll just, sit back and not say a word. But thank you so much for showing up today.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. Thanks for sharing your story. Becoming vulnerable is one of the most important things that we could do to be able to share our stories.
For sure.
I appreciate you being that voice. And remember, everybody else, if you want to ever get some help and you don't know where to turn, reach out. There is help out there. Melanie's always around. Melanie Beddis. She is down at Greater Goods, which is at K&A. It's part of the Sunday Love Project. director of operations. She has come a long way with that, doing some great things. Mel, thanks for showing up today. Thanks for being a voice. And everybody else out there, remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Britt Carpenter and Usula Media. Have a great rest of your day.